East Hampton Town Board, we are live.
Thank you, Jason. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the East Hampton Town Board work session of Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Carol, if you could please read the roll call.
Councilman Flight, Councilman Lease.
Present.
Councilmember Rogers.
Present.
Councilmember Calder Piedmont.
Present.
Supervisor Burke Gonzalez.
Present. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So this morning we open with public portion. We ask folks, they can talk on any topic, and we ask you to please keep your comments kindly to 3 minutes. Then we have 6 work session topics. The first is bids with Jeannie Carrozza. Then our town administrator, Becky Hansen, will be taking us through a draft remote work policy. Then we'll have a presentation by John Ryan Sr. on water safety update. And then the Beach Advisory Group is going to take us through the summer 2025 beach action plan. And that'll be followed by 2 presentations, both by Mark Abramson, our Assistant Director of Natural Resources. The first is an update for the Town Hall EV Charger Program, and the second is an EV Fast Charger recommendation. That'll be followed by liaison reports and then resolutions. So we'll start with public comment. Carol, has anyone signed up?
No.
Is there anyone here that would like to address the board? Okay. Jason, is there anyone on the line?
Yes, we have 2 callers on the line. I will unmute the first.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hello, caller ending 0790. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi, good morning. Hope everyone can hear me okay. My name is Channing Tobin. I'm a longtime resident of Springs, and I am respectfully requesting that our leadership opt in to permit licensed adult use cannabis retail dispensaries. This decision would provide our community a much safer, more economically sound approach in addressing the challenges of cannabis access. The current unregulated market presents major public health risks, and licensed dispensaries would establish guidelines to protect our community while fostering new opportunities for economic growth. By opting in, East Hampton Town has the potential to create a safer environment for its residents, reduce the risk posed by this illicit market, and realize a significant new source of tax revenue to benefit the entire community. Currently, unregulated cannabis is easily accessible within our town, creating an unsafe environment, particularly for our adolescents. Because these products are purchased illegally, there is no guarantee of safety or purity, and unregulated cannabis can contain harmful and toxic substances that put our young people at risk. Allowing the adult use retail dispensaries creates a safe and controlled regulated market with strict age verification protocols, product safety standards, reducing the appeal of dangerous illegal cannabis. Opting out does not prevent access. It merely keeps it unregulated and illicit. Choosing to opt in is a more realistic solution that would allow us to harness the current market while implementing guidelines and guardrails to ensure that all cannabis products available in East Hampton Town meet high safety and quality standards set forth by New York State law. This is the clear choice if we want to move forward with a safe and structured future for our residents. Licensed dispensaries offer East Hampton Town a substantial new source of tax revenue. These funds could be directed towards essential community initiatives such as education, public safety, youth programs, thereby benefiting all residents. Other communities in New York have chosen to opt in and seen positive impacts and new opportunities. We believe East Hampton should be a part of this progress and benefit from the same financial advantages. East Hampton permits the sale of tobacco and alcohol, which have well-documented health risks and high mortality rates. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, tobacco smoking-related illnesses cause about 480,000 deaths a year, while excessive alcohol use is linked to around 95,000 deaths annually in the U.S. Studies indicate that cannabis has a significantly lower association with severe health issues and mortality than both alcohol and tobacco, even as a wide range of medicinal purposes. Given both alcohol and tobacco are easily available across our town, it's reasonable to treat cannabis with similar regulatory responsibility, offering residents a safer, legal choice within a controlled framework. The time is now. We have a unique opportunity to come together to shape a better future for our community. With an illicit cannabis market already thriving in East Hampton, it is our firm belief that current arguments against opting in simply don't meet the standard. Now is the time to come together, make our voices heard, and choose a path that prioritizes the health and safety and prosperity of our home. I, along with many other constituents, respectfully urge the board to join us by adding and opting in for adult use cannabis retail dispensaries in our town. And I guess I just have one last question, and I know you all can't answer, but just I'm curious as to why the board hasn't moved forward with this vote. Anyway, thanks all for listening and have a great day.
Thank you, Channing. Jason, if you could put the second caller through.
Absolutely. Hello, caller ending 9004. You're on the air. Hello.
It's Gloria Frazee from Rewild, Long Island. It's good to be here once again, foiled again. You guys are in Montauk and not here on Pantago Lane. Anyway, I'm really thrilled that our Rewild's collaboration with East Hampton Town is continuing, and East Hampton Compost is opening once again for the season this Saturday. So start collecting your food scraps so we can transform food scraps into soil food. We'll be once again at Springs Farmers Market, Sag Harbor Farmers Market, and the Montauk Community Garden, and opening Wednesday, May 21st at Amber Waves. So you can get all the information, rewildlongisland.org/compost. This year, we're also doing an eco table at a number of the locations. So please ask us your questions about composting, recycling, native plants, pollinators, and how to kill your lawn if you want. We'll teach you how to smother that grass. The other thing that's going on, an invitation to the entire community, because Rewild really is about bringing community together to care for the health of our pollinators and people, wildlife, sea life, shores, and soils, is Community Gardens Planting Day. Once again, we're working with the town of East Hampton. At the East Hampton Historical Farm Museum, there is Matthew Lester's pollinator garden, and we will be planting the garden itself as well as a separate plot nearby. That will be a great demonstration area for folks looking to put in a smaller native garden in their homes, yards, and that will be May 21st. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Jason, is there anyone else that's called in?
Yes, there is. I'll unmute them right now.
Thank you.
Hello, 8764. You're on the air. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning, Town Board. This is David Buddha. I was not planning on calling in, but I heard the very slick press release from the person who was advocating for you to consider opting in for retail dispensaries of marijuana products in East Hampton. I strongly and strenuously disagree and ask you to urge you to stay the course. East Hampton, especially in the summertime, has enough problems with the actions of people that use marijuana products, and certainly there's nothing about expanding that reach and expanding that opportunity to purchase such products in the town in any way would diminish the existing illegal market. So it's a matter of, do you want to expand the use of such products amongst our population, especially the youth, and create even greater dangers for people that are in the town, and such as additional driving problems, people driving high, which is extremely hard for the police to deal with. So I just ask you to stay the course. There's just no need to expand that type of activity in the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Jason, is there anyone else on the line?
We have no new callers on the line.
I'm just going to come back to the room one more time. Does anyone want to address the board? Okay, so we're going to move on to our topics. And the first up is bids with Jeannie Carrozza. Welcome, Jeannie.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I'm starting off with a few acceptances. The first is for the annual cesspool and tank pumping services. Quackenbush Cesspools is the apparent low bidder. Next is Westlake Dock Repairs. Keith Grimes is the apparent low bidder for that. The amount is $1,799,999.70. Next is the purchase and installation of a new fire pump on the marine vessel. The apparent low bidder is Emergency Mechanical Services in the amount of $137,602.72. Communications building renovation is the next bid. That's the building behind the Justice Court. That in the amount of $585,000. The apparent low bidder for that is Long Island Craftsmanship Inc. And the final acceptance is for the demolition at the 403 Abraham's Path property. Doosan Inc., DBA AMCS Environmental is the apparent low bidder for that in the amount of $158,888.28. We're rejecting a bid for kitchen uniforms and small wares. And we have several notices. First will be for a self-mailing newsletter for the town of East Hampton, a mule utility vehicle for lifeguards, and P6 portable pumps for the Marine Patrol. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so next up, we have Becky Hansen, our town administrator, to take us through a draft remote work policy. Welcome, Becky.
Good morning, Supervisor, members of the town board. For the public's benefit, I'm here to present today a draft remote work policy for full-time employees. The supervisor had expressed an interest earlier in the year in formalizing a remote work policy for employees at the town. We have drafted a policy for your review. It's modeled very similarly than one that the town of Southampton is currently administering. The draft policy was reviewed with our group of department heads through their monthly meetings that the supervisor holds, and the policy has also been sent to the CSEA union for their review also. And I think the legislative intent, the first whereases clauses really highlight the purpose and the reasoning that the town is looking to formally adopt this type of policy. So I'll just read from that and then we'll go through each section. The town of East Hampton is committed to supporting a professional, healthy, and effective workplace while maintaining the highest standard of public service. As work models continue to evolve, remote work, when appropriate and thoughtfully managed, can offer important benefits to both employees and the town. This policy is intended to guide departments in evaluating and implementing remote work arrangements that help improve work-life balance, reducing commuting stress, and support employee recruitment and retention. It also aligns with the town's broader goals, including climate resilience, operational efficiency, and continuity of service. It is recognized, though, that remote work is not suitable for every role. It can be a valuable tool in maintaining a flexible and responsive government. The intent of this policy is to offer structure and fairness while preserving the essential connection between public service and community engagement. And I really have to thank Diane Patrizio, the head of the town's human services, for working with me on providing that information. So again, I think it's no secret the town of East Hampton, like every other employer, public or private sector, has struggled to recruit and retain, especially post-COVID. Again, I think it's no secret that the town's geography, unfortunately, presents itself as a detriment when trying to recruit and retain employees. Even though the South Fork Commuter Connection has been an overwhelming success, the employees that do take it love it. And I know we are going into the new summer schedule, but people are really, really pleased with it. However, we have realized that there are a number of functions that could be provided by the town employees in a remote situation. So this policy, again, outlines the town's approach to the remote work, how the town will assess the types of employees and the type of work that may be suitable for remote work. So it is important to note that this policy is different than the flex time policy that the town board adopted last year. So the draft policy provides two type of remote situations, either a fully remote work situation or a hybrid work situation. So the hybrid situation itself also, we present two different scenarios. An employee that chooses to work a hybrid remote schedule could work up to 4 days a week from a remote location, because then obviously 5 days you will be a fully remote employee. Or there is a provision in here that an employee may be permitted to start their workday on certain days from a remote location, work 1 or 2 hours from home. That employee then punches out, commutes to the office, punches in again, and then finishes their workday actually in the office. And this type of remote schedule would be only apply at the beginning of the employee's workday. Obviously, there are a number of factors that the town board and a department head would have to consider for any employee to, have the option to be considered for a remote schedule. If an employee's job involves daily receiving, assisting, or interacting with members of the public, that does their position entail using town equipment or to perform at town facilities or properties, those types of situations, unfortunately, those employees would not be eligible for a remote work situation. But other types of situations where employees do perform certain independent project-based work, certain work quality and performance would also be considered by the department and the town board in any application from an employee to have a remote work schedule. And again, unfortunately, this is not going to be available to every employee, that especially those that are out in the field, whether or custodial work or those types of situations. An employee must formally apply to be considered for a remote work situation, either a fully remote, which the town did fortunately just hire Eric Shantz. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for us in the housing department, but did work out for the planning department with Eric's years of expertise and experience working with the planning department, that fortunately is one of those positions that could be fully remote, even though Eric will, can attend when needed to come to town hall or to attend meetings as needed. But again, there are probably very few positions that will actually be or could be considered as a fully remote position.
And Becky, just to emphasize, in the role in planning, by attending the regulatory board meeting, land use board meetings, he'll be able to do that via Zoom.
Absolutely. Yep. And again, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, all of those have, really opened up this to be able to offer this type of remote opportunity too, when everyone either had to do a conference call or meet in person, and now even meetings with people in the same town, or even within in the town itself, we're having by remote or team meetings, Zoom meetings. The town board, in consultation with an employee's department head, will evaluate the request for a remote work schedule and determine if the employee is eligible based on the factors set forth in the beginning of the policy. The town board and department head will consider the operational needs of the department or division, as well as existing or previously approved remote work applications. The town board does have final discretion over any employee's request to work remotely. The policy also sets forth rules and procedures as far as, clearly it's important employees have to understand that they still will have to punch in and out, whether they're fully remote or one of the hybrid options, because obviously we still have to be able to track their time through our timesheet system, which again is a module that can be placed on any laptop that an employee is using. The rules for employees are the same as if they were working in town hall, in their office, 300 Panago, our housing office on Bluff Road. So all policies, procedures, rules still apply to an employee, even if you're working in a remote location. The policy also states that the town will provide any computer or technological equipment, phones, anything that an employee may need to effectuate their remote work schedule. It's also important that an employee that is approved to work remotely may be recalled to the office at any time to either provide coverage for a meeting or for some other reason that the department head or the town board requests. Authorizations to work remotely may be limited by the town, and and those authorizations to work can be withdrawn or revoked by the town board or at the request of a department head at any time. This is not an entitlement. It is not a given, obviously subject to the demands by the town government, by the public, and other factors. So there are just two small recommendations I do have. That on the first page, it should be noted that this applies to full-time employees only and all of our employee units, because that's not clear in the resolve clause. So that is my fault. And then just on page 4 at the bottom, punching in and out, where it says that sets of punch-ins must total 8 hours, which is an overwhelming majority of our full-time employees, but we do have employees that do also work 30 and 35-hour work weeks. So that 8 hours would also be revised to read 6, 7, or 8 hours, depending on the employee's work schedule.
Thank you. I'll just say that, no, I don't really have many questions. I think that's another step that the supervisor is trying to work on about modernizing the government, the availability to craft with the flex policy and also this policy to work and try to maintain staff or try to actually work for the taxpayer and the residents. A lot of this has come through discussions. And again, I think it was last week, there weren't a lot of good things during COVID, but some things out of COVID, we were able to work forward, and we got this in a way too. We still want everyone to know, or at least I would like to everyone know, to live here, work here is a motto of the town of East Hampton for our staffing. There's great employment opportunities, but what we know now is that the department head sees this as an availability for their staff and then can maintain the structure and order in their department. I'm supportive of that, specifically since all the department heads looked at this also. So I thank you for crafting it.
And again, this is looking to formalize something on a more semi-permanent or permanent basis, not the one-off where an employee, maybe an employee who lives up island has a doctor's appointment in the afternoon and asks their department head, hey, can I work from home in the morning? And so those one-offs, we're very flexible with and understand that, again, sometimes our personal lives do creep into our public work life and in trying to be accommodating. But this takes it a step further in creating a formal policy and, again, a more semi-permanent, permanent type of work situation for the employees and more predictable for them.
Yeah, I think that's an important part. There's the appeals process, there's the avenue of request that. So for the employee themselves, they now know what the structure of the policy is to formalize. Right. So I think that's important as we move ahead in the world we're in right now.
I support it. I think it's. I also support the way that the process came down with the draft and then go to the department heads, who I hope talk to their staff, and then this policy grew out of that collaboration with across the town. I think it's what is it? Happy wife, happy life, happy staff, happy community. We want people to feel good about their jobs, so that translates into the community. So I think this is another option for folks who feel pressed, and certainly we don't even need to talk about travel times these in 2025.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fully supportive as well. I think it's the reality in the world in which we live, in the area in which we live. The flex policy that is already adopted for sort of one-offs or being accommodating to staff, I think is helpful, but this makes sense on a more permanent basis. And I think that the example you gave of Eric Shantz, who simply moved out of town and, would have loved to have stayed, I think, working with us. And I think a credit to the supervisor and the board to recognize maybe there's an opportunity to keep him on by remote. And I think that partially led to this policy, which I'm sure will have applications through other departments and other staff members. I think we should all acknowledge that managing workflow remotely is going to be its own unique challenge, but will allow for more opportunities for more full staffing and hopefully getting everything done that we need to get done.
All right, and that's one of the things that the department head and the board would consider too with any employee's application. Are we able to manage and evaluate, in an effective manner that the employee is doing the work, is producing the work that they're supposed to be doing? So obviously, if the employee is not meeting that standard, that, either the request would be revoked or revised, at some other time. So.
Yeah, I'm very confident in the department head's ability to do that. And you also noted, I think we should all acknowledge that for some workers, some employees, they won't be able to take advantage of this. And it's the work we choose. You know, if you happen to be in a position where your work has to be on site, it still has to be on site. I don't think that should prevent somebody else who's being a productive employee off-site from being able to take advantage of the remote policy.
So I think until, we haven't, so long as there are no comments from the CSEA, again, Jim Bennett has a copy of it and is reviewing it. If there are any comments, certainly share them with the board, and if I need to come back and present again, otherwise we can schedule this for adoption at the first June meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Becky. Okay, so next up, we have a water safety update by John Ryan Sr. Welcome, Big John.
Welcome.
And water safety can't be remote.
Oh, I am, I'm older than Huey King, by the way.
Let the record show.
I wear a lot of hats. I want to, anytime I have an opportunity to address the board, the first thing we have to do is say thank you. This board, if we look at our logo, we are surrounded by water. And this board has supported all the programs that we do. So today I wear the Town of East Hampton logo. Okay, I am a lifeguard trainer, and right there with me, he's the co-lifeguard trainer, but let me explain the big difference. And the other thing is, whenever you have a clipboard and a whistle, you can be in charge of anything. That's why I wore the whistle. But the difference between myself and John, he gets wet, I don't get wet much. But I did get wet on January 1st, and I just noticed the board, I don't think you guys got wet on January, the plunge, for the benefit of the food pantry. But anyway, so hats, okay, so this is Ocean Rescue. And Ocean Rescue is an organization that supports all the programs that the town runs and more. It supports the high school swim teams, it supports the hurricane swim teams, it supports our programs, our town programs, which I might mention, our NIPA program, 6, 7, and 8, that is starting up since, and our junior lifeguard program, and our lifeguard training program. All those started on Sunday at the Y every Sunday since March, and we will continue to show up and train nippers, junior lifeguards, and lifeguards every Sunday, and that training is free. And I will tell you that our junior lifeguard program and the NIPA program are unique in the sense that normally, I'll give you one example, Jones Beach has a huge program. Not as big as ours, but huge. And on a particular Sunday, they have 40 open spots. They swim kids, they pick the top 40, that's it. We don't do that. We insist that every kid in our program, whether they be NIPA or junior lifeguard, that they qualify and they become swimmers. And when they come to the bay, the nippers go to the bay and the ocean, they are competent swimmers. And that training is free. Okay? I'm supposed to talk about water safety. But before I forget, all right, June 20th is a very important day, okay? When I say I wear a lot of hats, okay, I taught. I am actually not exactly the head. My wife is the heart and soul of the Ryan clan, which is 50 strong, 50 strong. And of those 50, okay, 30 are ocean lifeguards. This year, we have 3 of my grandchildren becoming ocean lifeguards. And the other thing that I did, I taught 28 years. I've been on the school board longer than that, and I've been retired from teaching longer than that. But I want to ask everybody if they'll please, on the 20th of June, please go and vote. Of May, please go vote for your school district and vote. I'm not telling you how to vote, but make sure you vote. All right, very important, especially in Montauk. They got a big project going, and I hope it passes. Okay, water safety. Let's take a good look. Let's take a good look at some of the things that are important. All right. One big thing, and I'll give you a little thing. We all know Joan Tulp. I believe she's the morning mayor of Amagansett. Joan Tulp regularly is in charge of Indian Wells Beach. And I tell Joan, are you taking care of the beach? So any one of you, if you are at a beach and you see a problem, there is something we can all do. And the first thing you got to be sure is you call 911, all right? And that, I handed these out, some people might have them, but make sure you call and stay on the phone, don't hang up first. If you are going to make a rescue and you can't, and you want to get in quick, make sure you take a piece of equipment, all right, no matter where it is, because the easiest part of a rescue is getting to the victim. That's the easiest part. The hardest part is keeping him afloat. Not necessarily getting him in because we have ocean rescue. So just like when we have a fire, we have very quickly firemen. We, as ocean rescue members, all year round, we have never missed a mandate. Within 5 minutes, we are there with equipment to back you up and to make that rescue, okay? So the big thing would be stay in the line, try to get somebody that's going in to take a piece of equipment. I'll never forget, there's a woman in Florida, her husband, she couldn't swim, her husband was in the pool. She threw all the pool furniture into the pool so he could finally stand in the deep end and get out. That's how she saved him, okay? So, also swim near a lifeguard, but that's pretty tough to do. Beaches open on Memorial Day, and then they open full-time in mid-June. And besides that, besides all our protected beaches, there's a lot of unprotected beaches. So when we say swim near a lifeguard, do it, please, all right? And I'll say, don't allow anyone to attempt a swimming rescue without calling 911 and taking a flotation device, all right? Pool rules, that's our big problem, I claim. All the home pools, and that's what this is all about. I think we're going to start. Johnny, are you going to talk about that? Okay, I'm going to talk. We were supposed to have that on the screen, but anyway, if you grabbed a piece of paper and you looked at it on the back, what's wrong with that? All right, every pool in the town of East Hampton needs a fence. So the first thing we notice is that there's no fence, and of course, the lifeguard at the pool is the adult supervision. And we could see that that guy's watching his car instead of watching the kids in the pool. There are probably other things here. The bucket, very small children, buckets full of water are a very dangerous thing. Kids can fall in and not get out. So anyway, we have that. I'll continue with my pool rules. We train our juniors. Reach and throw, don't go. All right? Don't give your body to, oftentimes at this time of the year, somebody goes out, an adult goes out to save his kid, or a brother goes out to save a younger sister, and they drown. All right? So you got to be careful. Never swim alone in your own pool. Make sure you have a fence and a gate that closes. Oh, by the way, we train our juniors. At the end of the night, make sure you take all the toys out of the pool, because a kid can get near that pool and reach in and fall in. All right? Train them to watch, and if somebody stops watching them, you get out of the pool, or you tell them, hey, watch me, I'm in the pool. All right? We try to do that. So we try to teach our kids to be safe. All right? And the other thing we often do, I'll never forget, it was a school group down in Indian Wells. James Budge was the lifeguard at Indian Wells, and these kids all had their boogie boards. And we said, hey, all you kids had boogie boards. It was a class group. Come on over here. Okay, so let's all you. We're going to go out and see James Budge. He's out there with the torpedo. We're all going to swim out to him. Okay, by the way, leave your boogie boards here and go out, because leashes break. All right? So don't rely on flotation devices if you can't swim, all right? Rip currents. We know that anytime there's a jetty, there's a rip current. On the Friday before Memorial Day, I am traveling to Rockaway Beach with TJ Calabrese. My son John would go. Regina Scully, one of our great benefactors in town, is starting a PSA program for the city of New York City. And the reason why Rockaway Beach is a big problem because all it has is jetties. And anytime you have a jetty, and the city of Long Beach, same thing. That's where I grew up. Anytime you have a jetty, you have a rip. And the key is to not fight the rip. And the other key is that people get shocked by realizing when they're in a rip, all of a sudden they have to be able to swim. Because no matter where you go in the water, the sweep of the water will bring you to that rip. And then a series of waves come in. This is our typical rescue. Series of waves come in, and you never try to beat a wave, so you dive under it. And all of a sudden, instead of being at your waist, and now you're at your chest. And then once you're over your waist, you have to be able to swim. And people turn and try to swim in, and all of a sudden, they go backwards. And that is the rescue. And if they panic, excuse me, if they panic, that's the real problem, and that's our rescue. And so the great thing is, if you just relax, and eventually it will dissipate. You can go laterally and then come in. All right. Diving can be a problem, back injuries and whatever. I think I've covered most of it. I will say that one great asset, and we're just about ready to open a pool in Montauk, is the East Hampton YMCA pool. That pool, and it allows us to start all our programs. Every one of our lifeguard programs start at the Y, and of course we span. The town certifies a still water certification, allows any one of a person 15 and up to work at any bay or pool. Our ocean certification, age 16 and up, allows you to work at any ocean, bay or pool. And we supply, as a town, lifeguards, not just to the town of East Hampton, but all over the South Fork of Long Island, and even on Shelter Island. I think I've covered a lot. Any questions? Any questions? So I'm going to turn it off to, one other thing, okay? I mentioned the Ryan clan. The Ryan clan is expanding. And this year I have 23 grandchildren, but I have 3 great-grandchildren. And I'm going to have 3 more. And guess what that guy over there is going to be? He's going to be Grandpa John as we speak. Apparently one of our wonderful chiefs of the town of East Hampton, Haley Q, is going to have a baby. And then I also have Ryan O'Dwyer, another grandchild that is the father of a baby. And Devin and Jared Blow are going to have a child. So God bless them. And God bless the town of East Hampton. Any questions? I'll turn it over to Mike.
I have a comment for you, if you don't mind. Okay.
Sure.
So even on Channel 12 News, there's actually a missing swimmer in Kings Park this morning, or last night then too. So having Lifeguards for Life and having the Ryan family for what you've done, not just for the town of East Hampton, but for the state, for the nation, and now internationally, what the Ryan family has started is something I think that we are all blessed to have out here.
Thank you.
I was at my daughter's softball game, one of my daughter's softball games yesterday, and we were talking about the old school stuff in East Hampton Village, you know, when the park was built, and I ran into Jimmy Quackenbush, his daughter was playing in East Hampton, and we talked about when you would teach us to go swimming in the pool before the YMCA on Race Lane. It's now a electrical place or something like that.
Yes, that's right.
And
Frank Keenan used to run
Mr. Kiernan,
the boys camp there.
So that's where we would learn to swim in the 80s. And as we progress with the YMCA, as we progress with the Montauk Playhouse, I look forward to having the Ryan family continue all that and all the multiple generations. But I wanted to learn how to swim. My dad's from Indonesia. He doesn't like the pool, but every house he had a pool. I wanted to learn how to swim without your assistance.
Yeah.
And that's nearly 40 years ago. So thank you.
I got pushed off a dock at the bay. And thank you for listening. And you'll get a better presentation from himself. Myself.
Thank you,
so
John.
much, John.
Thanks, John.
Motion to close?
So funny.
Well, Madam Supervisor, I'm gonna, the next presentation we have is actually the Summer 2025 Beach Action Plan, and to the rest of the town board. We have multiple members of our beach advisory group here. We have Superintendent of Recreation, John Rooney. Please come up to the podium if you can. We have Chief of Marine Patrol, Tim Treadwell, and we also have our Chief Lifeguard, John Ryan Jr. Please join us. Thank you very much.
Megan, were you going to run that PowerPoint if you wouldn't mind?
Thank you, Megan.
Tis the season already, David.
It is. So as I fill in time here, what I want to let everyone know is that we're going to present what our beach action plan is for calendar year 2025. If we can go to the front of it, if you don't mind, Megan, page you want to be great. Thank you very much. So this is summer 2025. This is the East Hampton Town Beach Action Plan and future recommendations. This is something that we have started to historically do now during and post-COVID seasons as we get ready. Next slide, please. The town's beach, parks, and recreational advisory group consists of multiple members of town departments on here, from Chief Michael Sarlo, John Ryan Jr., Tim Treadwell, Francis Buck from the town trustees, Steve O'Brien from Buildings and Grounds, and John Rooney from Town Recreation Department, among others. Our mission. I changed the mission from what was last year. Next page, please. Next slide. Simply, the Town of East Hampton's Beach Advisory Group was convened upon the request of the Town Council to consider the use of the town's beaches, parks, and recreation areas to make recommendations on safe use of bathing beaches during lifeguarded and recreational facilities opened hours. Initially, this came out of COVID, how we were going to open the town's beaches during COVID because we were under strict restrictions by executive order. This has morphed into just being a great thing. And I want to thank the supervisor and other board members for continuing this and the collaboration. We will go into each individual's things, but the next page, please. Next slide. Sorry. No worries. This is a slide of actually ditch planes prior to 2022, I believe it was. This term more during COVID. Great. So the beach action plan includes the 2025 beach operating permits have been received. All our bathing beaches have to receive the operating permits. Rooney might be able to add a little bit to that later. Recommendations for lifeguarded beach operations, each of the town safety protocols for our lifeguards and beaches, our comfort station operating and custodial protocols, continued utilization of Park Mobile for paid parking at our beaches and beach locations, and staffing levels maintained for all our departments. And the greatest thing out of this is the continued coordination between agencies and town departments to carry out the town's 2025 operation plans and policies. I would like to go into John Rooney, if you can help us with the next slide about our beach openings, please.
Sure. Good morning, everybody.
John?
So, yeah, the season's upon us, and it's coming up, and we're going to be opening up Memorial Day weekend. As usual, we start opening some of our beaches Memorial Day weekend. We keep them open on the weekends until we get into mid-June, where then everything opens up. For that first weekend, Indian Wells, Atlantic Avenue, South Edison and Ditch, all in the ocean, they all open up as of Saturday, May 24th. And we also have Big Albert's on the Bay, opens up that same day. And then a couple of weeks later, on June 14th, we end up opening up Maidstone, East Lake, which are also on the bays, and then also Kirk Park, and then the stand that we add in on Motel Row between South Edison and Kirk. So that'll be opening up on the 14th.
So can I just say, so Ditch Plains, we're in good shape with sand and being able to put our beach lifeguards down there?
Yeah, the sand that's actually been accreting there over this course of this wintertime. I think we've had a lot of northwest winds this year, but there's a lot of sand on that beach, more sand than I've seen in years. I don't think we're gonna have to replenish it for a recreational beach. There might be a little change or a little needed of a berm in front of the stands for the guards, but yes, we'll be open, ready to go.
And that's our beach opening days.
Great. John, can you go through the recommendations then for guard beach operations?
Yeah,
And John Ryan will come in for the lifeguards.
So obviously we want to have continued coordination with East Hampton Town Marine Patrol and East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue, which we always have. Drone technology will be utilized for life-saving needs and dangerous Marine Patrol observations. And we've been doing that since, I guess, COVID time, a little right after that, yeah. Installation of the ADA beach mats, they'll go in at Indian Wells and Atlantic Avenue as we get into that first Saturday. Obviously continue with our junior lifeguard programs. The training's still going on, as John Senior was just telling us about at the YMCA. That continues till mid-June, and towards the end of June, we start our nipper guards and our junior lifeguards on the sand as well. Training and testing of new and current lifeguards, which is ongoing as we speak, and it gets more and more intensive as we get into the season. Continue use of ATV vehicles to guard beaches, and I believe Jeannie mentioned this morning that earlier that you guys approved. We can get upgrade one of those vehicles. And then outreach campaigns for residents about beach conditions, much like John Senior was just doing. And then International Water Safety Week. I don't know the details of that one, so you know that's it. Yeah. So
I can speak to that. So this year we're not having an International Water Safety Day. We are going to have International Water Safety Week, which is generally what it is, but it gives us an opportunity to send out social media posts and whatnot on different ways of, as my father just presented, on pool safety concerns and also rip currents, things like that. But we can designate things on certain days of the week, trying to stress the safety on the beaches, our local beaches. In addition, there's that QR code down at the bottom of the slide. That's on all of our beaches at the head of the beach, and individuals can take a picture of that, and it's QR code. It'll direct them right to the website, lifeguard website. On that page, it will show the surf conditions of the day, the water temperature, the winds. Will also show this year we're working on what's called having the guards do a little additional. Take a little additional data on prevents. Prevents are preventative measures to making sure bathers are safe in our waters, and that may be if we're driving that ATV from Atlantic Avenue towards Beach Hampton, and we see rip currents at say 9A. Every beach has a sign on it. Every public access point to the beach has a number on it and a letter, 9A being, say, one of them. If we are driving past that and we see a rip current right there, we can tag that, and when immediately on our page, our public page, will pop up rip current advisory at 9A. if it's marine life, dangerous marine life, say, we can tag it, location, add the location, and it will pop up on that page. So somebody goes to that page and they start to see, wow, there's a lot of rip currents being tagged, or there's marine life. Maybe I should be going and swimming at a protected bathing beach. So, it's just another way of advertising or giving the public a little bit of understanding of what's going on at the beach before they get to the beach, because we all know you bring all your stuff down to the beach, you're less likely to pack it all back up because you realize the surf conditions are bad. You should be going to a protected bathing beach. We always recommend swim near a lifeguard. Just because you can see them doesn't mean they're way out of away from the swim area. We have a designated swim area. Please swim near those lifeguards.
John, could you also talk about the flags, the colored flags?
Sure. We fly 3 different, on that same page, you'll see a color at the top of the page, and it will represent the flag color that we're flying on the day. The first responsibility for lifeguards when they show up at the beach is to look at the surf, know where your hot spots are, where we have concerns, and we determine, is it green? Green means stoplight. Green means go, all right? Calm conditions. Doesn't mean that somebody can't get in trouble, but less concerns. All right, yellow is cautious. See a yellow light, just like a stoplight, cautious. So cautious conditions will be where we see rip currents. We know that it might be a shore break. It could be dangerous surf conditions. All right, red means danger. Danger. Stop and think about what you're going to do. We strongly advise you not going in the water. So those are our 3 colors. There's also, which we don't fly too often, thanks for Mr. Lisa here. He came up with the idea. There are flags out there that say big circle and a swimmer with a line through it. No swimming. On hurricane surf days or days where we have red flag day, we may put up that sign at any one of the beaches, all right, to indicate to people, look, you shouldn't be swimming. All right, if you're out there, we're coming to get you. All right, so that's one way which we can we have that outreach to the public to let them know that we have concerns about the ocean conditions. As far as the junior lifeguard program is concerned, our enrollment has increased. We believe we're expecting an increase in enrollment in the Amagansett program and the Montauk program. So on the next page, so we're dealing with Town of East Hampton is fully staffed. That's a good problem. All across the United States, we just came from our USLA conference up in Newport, Rhode Island, and there was a conference given. One of the speakers was talking about the impacts of COVID and whatnot on lifeguards, being able to employ lifeguards. And the concern across the whole United States is being able to get lifeguards. Well, we don't have that problem. We are doing it right. We run the NIPA program, junior program, a cadet program. As I was driving out here, I get a phone call, and guy wants to talk to me about our cadet program. He's from Connecticut. He ran into me up at the USLA conference. I will talk to you about your cadet program. Cadets it's an apprentice program. Okay, so that apprentice program teaches these 15-year-old kids that have come up through the junior program, teaching them how to become a Bay or Ocean lifeguard, right? So I'm sure on the way back, my father and I will be speaking on speakerphone to this individual about our cadet program.
Can you just talk a little bit about that conference you went to, the USLA, and how East Hampton was recognized?
Yeah, so the gentleman that was from Long Beach that spoke about the economic factors and the how COVID's factoring in on how getting lifeguards is difficult, and in the middle of his conversation or his talk about this, he said Carnegie had a theory that if he was Carnegie, I'm not a history major. Carnegie was he Steele? Mm-hmm. I think so. Right? He had everything that had to do with steel, a linear approach to it. He was going to make sure that anything that involved steel, he was going to open businesses for that. And so he had a linear program. And so on the end of his presentation, he mentions this, and then up pops the East Hampton Town website with all of East Hampton logos on the bottom, starting with the NIPA program, the junior program, the Hurricane Swim Team, the East Hampton Town Lifeguards, East Hampton Village Lifeguards, and East Hampton Volunteer Rescue. And he says, you see, East Hampton, and I know Ryan from, he took our PWC Rescue Operators course, but I certainly didn't expect him to be pulling us up, and everybody's looking. I'm starting to get a little embarrassed, but whatever. He just said, East Hampton's got it right. They have that linear approach, just like Carnegie, and they should be proud of what they do, and we should learn from what East Hampton is. Lifeguards from Hawaii, chief lifeguards from Hawaii, the president of USLA decided to, after the conference in Newport, he came over and says, what's the chances there's any surf out in East Hampton? I was like, oh, there's definitely surf out in Montauk. So he decided to drive down here and stay a couple days out in Montauk to visit not just our beaches, the Dory Barn, how we're running things. And he made a comment. He said, John, you guys have something very special here. And talking about the life-saving station. And he said every single lifeguard in the United States should be coming here and seeing what you got. And I was, again, he's trying to film me. I'm like, oh, please don't film me. He said, no, really, it's going to be good. I'm like, oh, very cut and paste, whatever you do. But it was quite impressive. It was a great conference. It's 4 days. It's lengthy, a lot of meetings, a lot of committees sitting on, making decisions, trying to improve things. But in any case, dogs, we all know dogs are permitted on certain beaches. Montauk, no dogs allowed. And in Amagansett, things are outside the area. We ask you, please look, it's for the sake of people that come to the beach. If you bring in a dog, there's rules right at the top of the beach. Please read the rules before Marine Patrol or lifeguards have to come over and tell you can't have dogs in the area. Smoking, we certainly don't want smoking in the area. All right, 500 feet outside the protected area. And then this year we're getting Chief Treadwell as one of his Marine Patrol officers going to come down and train us on Stop the Bleed, and that will, we have tourniquets in our med kits that lifeguards will be trained to use if needed.
Thank you very much, John. Just a moment. Can you go to the next slide here? This is what Big John was talking about earlier. If you see this photo here, to anyone in the view audience, we'll circle what is wrong in this picture. And Johnny Ryan Jr., do you want to just go through them here if we're looking at this now on the screen?
So, when I bring this to the kid, I have a big one. That's big when kids sit. When I go to the country school or the spring school or Amagansett school or East Hampton school district, I bring this and I ask them, and the kids always say, "Well, the boy is playing with going to hurt the dog with the big stick." And I was like, "Okay, I get it." Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's right. He should be very careful with that. But that is a piece of rescue equipment. And there's another piece of rescue equipment at the pool. That
looks to be a little too high.
Shepherd's hook, and you can reach out and grab somebody if they get in trouble in the pool. It's a reaching tool. Is there anything else in there? And the kid says, "There's that ring thing up there." Yes, that's that ring thing. That's called the ring buoy. The only problem with that is that it's a little too high for that little boy there who could possibly use it if needed. And the fact is, you should be putting those things back where they belong. That little girl that's in the pool in a flotation device, she's in the deep end of the pool. Does she know how to swim? Don't know. And I'm not so sure if she's in a flotation device. She probably does not, but she could easily slip out of that. No, as my father mentioned, no fence around the pool. All right, Dad's not watching. I always tell you, remember, you can't be in the pool unless you have somebody watching you, and his mom. And I say, "Is Mom watching you?" And she's got her phone doing this, and they're like, no, yeah, so you need to tell mom, put that away. She's got to watch it because you can get in trouble quick. She shouldn't be reading a book. She should be watching you. And so there, and the bucket drowning my father talked about, kids can't, when they fall, little kids, babies fall into those buckets, they don't have the strength to push themselves out and they can drown in 6 inches of water. Right. I think that's pretty much it, but you'd be surprised that kids will come up with other things that I didn't even see. And,
Well, thank you very much, John. And Mr. Ryan, thank you for bringing that to us. I'm just going to go on to buildings and grounds. And
Can I just ask John a question?
Okay.
Sure.
Were you going to say something?
Well, I just wanted to mention flag. You mentioned flag. As a general rule, the biggest problem we have is a red flag day, the ocean is roaring. And the next day, as it calms down, you go to yellow flag and it looks calmer. And that's generally a tendency. And then Johnny mentioned no flag. And we don't like to say no flag because if we do that on the protected beaches, we're afraid those people will go to all the unprotected areas and swim there. So I think what we will do is on a red flag day and even rougher, we will try to restrict it. Flippers, people in with flippers because, knee-high bathing, you don't ever want to see waist-high bathing. But, we're pretty good. At the protected beaches, Johnny, I don't think we've ever lost anybody. Right?
no, we have not.
Yeah.
Not to drown.
And that's pretty good. And the reason why Long Beach and Rockaway are such a big problem this time of year is because it's unprotected and the jetties and the riffs. And so they regularly have drownings. And Regina Scully is starting this PSA thing all about don't panic in a riff and what a riff is.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to.
John, I was just going to ask you, sorry, quickly, when you have the date for the safety week, if you would just let us know so we could put it out through our networks.
But yeah, I definitely will. And I'd also like to bring a few of our cadets here to talk about some just hot topics that come up.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to buildings and grounds, we've made a certain effort over the last couple of years to install our new beach rules, directional signage, been placed at bay and ocean road ends. This includes as far as permit signs, so individuals and residents and visitors are aware of what the rules and locations are for parking and such. Staffing levels are sufficient in buildings and grounds for the increased workload for refuse removal and infrastructure repairs. The morning trash runs in Montauk are staffed and will be implemented. We also will have our beach rakes will be deployed to all our ocean beaches on a rotating basis during the week. Custodial staff levels are sufficient for the increased frequency of bathroom cleanings and been hired recently. But as we've done in the past, our beach comfort stations will be closed at night, late night, and reopened very early in the morning by town staff. This decreases the amount of vandalism. Last year, we installed a lot of security cameras at a good majority of our comfort stations, and there really wasn't any vandalism last year, so that's worked out well in that process. So we'll continue to do that then too. I'm going to bring up Chief Tim Treadwell for the next slide, which will be for the East Hampton Town Police and Marine Patrol.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Again, the constant communication between departments, the collaboration is wonderful between the board, myself and the lifeguards, with the police department, with the parks department, with buildings and grounds. Anytime we have a problem or there's a problem on the beach, everybody really works well together and makes everyone's lives a lot easier. So that's a wonderful thing. We do have sufficient staff levels for this season as far as the Marine Patrol goes. As of January 1st this year, there's a new law in effect called Brianna's Law in New York State, where everyone operating a power-driven vessel is required to have a boater safety certificate. You can obtain one of those in a number of ways. You can take an online class or you can take a in-person class. I'm offering one of those classes here on the 17th. I better check that date. My calendar, and then another one at the Montauk Fire Department, I believe on the 12th and the 14th. They would be my 4th and 5th class so far this season. I really think it's a good thing for everyone. Even if you don't own a boat, it's good to know how to be safe on a boat in case you're out on somebody else's boat and something goes wrong. So I'm a big fan of the new legislation. The courses that we do here, there's no charge for them. They're compliments of the town of East Hampton, of the Marine Patrol. You just have to pay $10 to the state for your permanent card. You actually receive your temporary certificate the day of the class upon successful completion and passing of the exam.
Tim, thank you very much. Can you just also let the board know about emergency marker beach locations and what we've done with those recently?
Yes. So Chief Ryan was very helpful with that. We replaced, when we first put those out, it was really a great thing for the town.
Just explain to the general public what that is again.
Okay. So basically, on every beach access, there's a sign that's an emergency marker. So if it's in Montauk, it'll say 26M. So if someone's in distress, they can then call 911 and say that there's a swimmer in distress at 26M. Then the dispatcher can put that in the CAD and direct all of the rescue personnel, whether it's lifeguards, Marine Patrol, East Hampton Volunteer Rescue, whoever's responding to the scene can be directed in an effective manner to that. So it's always a good idea if you're going to be out on the beach and you're going to be swimming to take a look around and see what that sign is, so that if something comes up, you don't have to go search for the sign. That would that would be very helpful.
And recently we installed those in Wainscott also.
Correct. Now they're
and they're going to be facing from the street, but also if you're facing the dune from the sea, you can see them there too. So we make sure those are up to date because let's be honest, they take a beating during the off season. So we made sure those are up to date.
And we've replaced a great number of those.
I thank you very much, Tim, for your help always.
One other thing, if you explain, Johnny and Tim, about the jet ski course we run.
Sure. So we every year we do a course that includes the New York State Boater Safety Certificate for the town and village lifeguards, whoever needs to get their PWC for rescue certification. And we've been doing that for a long time now, 10 years or more, and it works very well. And it's hands-on for the lifeguards though, and it's a great hands-on course that because the personal watercraft, aka jet ski, is a phenomenal rescue vessel. I was on the dory rescue squad, and it's a lot quicker than a dory and a lot safer. Although, of course, the dory did have a nice capacity of putting people in it.
And I think one of the things that Mr. John Ryan Sr. is that the collaboration between all the entities, there's a lot of waterfront, we have 71 miles of waterfront here, but we have jurisdictions from the county to the state, to the village, to the township, the Coast Guard, they all work well together. And there's a lot of crossover training that happens during the summer season also then too. So
absolutely, and
a lot of effort.
And really, East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue is a big part of that. Uniting. We do drills with the Marine Patrol, with the Coast Guard, with the fire department, with the lifeguards. It gets us to all work together in a training capacity. So then we have to work together in a rescue capacity. It becomes that much easier.
Thank you very much, Tim.
And the advantage of that jet ski is that it can make rescues in the break. You can't do that with a lifeboat. You can't do it with the rescue team. The jet ski, and the other thing is, people see, all the people that are operating that jet ski are certified to use it. Right?
And if I could just make one more plug for the Marine Patrol and the lifeguards and everyone that uses the beaches, please don't bring your household garbage to the beach, and please don't try dumping your household garbage in the town receptacles. And also, if you're going to have a beach fire, all the beach fire regulations are posted, but figure out a safe way for you to remove all your fire debris from the beach, and please leave nothing on the beach but your footprints.
Right.
Thank you, Tim. And if the can's full, you can take it home, carry it in, carry it out.
That's right. Thank you.
That's correct. Mimi, sorry, if we go to the next slide, please. I'm going to speak for Francis Bach and East Hampton Town trustees who are part of our beach advisory group. They are extremely happy and working and continue to work with East Hampton Town agencies on enforcement of our town beaches and to many of our waterways. Nighttime activities and fires will be constantly monitored on our town beaches, as Chief Treadwell just mentioned on there, and particularly not just on some of our ocean beaches, but our outward beaches might be Louse Point, Gerard Drive, and other areas. The pump out stations, which they maintain, will continue to be monitored due to the increased volume of usage. Recently, you saw that we actually had new monitoring systems put onto some of our pump out stations at Gann Road and Montauk. If voters need that, please contact the town trustees for that information. We're going to go to the next page, and John Rooney, do you want to come up and we'll talk about the town rec department for your season?
Sure. At our beaches, we have no parking spaces that are reserved for our town lifeguards, and that's going to be enforced to just keep those spots clear so our lifeguards can park. And we're just asking everybody to just please honor that. And we currently, for paid parking, we currently have 3 park mobile zones in the town of East Hampton. They're on Montauk at the moment, Kirk Park parking lot. South Edison, right near the where that beach is on the street, and also South Elmwood Avenue. We're going to be expanding Park Mobile to Atlantic Avenue Beach this summer. Nothing's changing in terms of what it costs and what days you can do daily parking and pay. It's just going to be through the app, as we've successfully done here in Montauk. Same way there. So we're pretty excited for that rollout as well. And that's going to be starting on Monday, the 16th of June, because that's when the first Monday when the lifeguards are there.
I thank you very much for taking the lead and that assistance on that. John, last page here. Very simple ABCs. Always swim near a lifeguard. Be respectful of others and clean up your litter. I just want to highlight on all of those, and to John Ryan Jr. and Sr. just said that. Let's swim near the lifeguards. The next one is be respectful of others. Last year, by the end of the season, there was a lot of disrespect treatment of some of our lifeguards and some of our TCOs and even individuals at our sanitation department. The town of East Hampton will not stand for that in the treatment of their staff. And 2, please be respectful, be patient to all our visitors, and we will have a wonderful season as we've done out here for a long time. Clean up your litter. On Mother's Day, I took a hike with my family, and we were in the walking dunes of all places, and there were dog bags of dog poop left on the top of the walking dunes, which is one of the most beautiful locations here. I don't have a dog. I thought it was just disrespectful and lazy, and let's just let you know it's illegal.
David, can I add on to that, because it's a pet peeve of mine, sorry. But we, just to be respectful of others, it's also a code to please pick up after your dog, but it doesn't end there. The plastic bags on the beach that we're seeing, as David mentioned, we're also seeing them in Maidstone and many other places where dogs are welcome. I have 2 dogs. The easy solution for this is to keep an old cooler in the back of your car, in the trunk of your car, or somewhere. Just, if you don't want to put the poop bags in your car, just stick it in an old box until you get it home. It's really challenging for folks to navigate all of the poop bags on our beaches, and it's an easy fix. So I'm just going to add to that. Please clean up after your dogs and then take it with you.
That's a great idea. Thank you, Kate, for that. Lastly, fires. As Chief Treadwell said, remove your fires. Come with a plan for that. Make sure you go by all the rules. You can go onto the town's websites for those also. And we're all in this together for a great, wonderful season. We have great agencies. Madam Supervisor, the town of East Hampton is ready for the season, ready for the visitors. We're happy to be here. If there's anything I can help the town board or any of these agencies, I believe your town and your beaches are ready.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen.
I mean, with the weather this weekend, it was beach weather.
Oh, it was.
Oh,
It was.
thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. You can leave.
You're dismissed.
All right, now we'll hear from Mark Abramson, our Assistant Director of Natural Resources. We're going to talk about EV chargers. Welcome, Mark.
Good afternoon, Supervisor. Good afternoon, town board members. I'm Mark Abramson from The Natural Resources Department, Assistant Director. I'm just going to have two quick presentations. One update on our the town's town facility, the main town campus. We're installing 20 level 2 chargers, and it's been in the works for a while. The town has received a grant. I think it was 2022 of $250,000 to put these chargers in over at Town Hall. It's through the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Municipal Zero Emissions Vehicle Infrastructure Program, ZEV for short. So it's shown on the screen. So these ports are going to be placed in, next slide, placed in by Linkwell, which is a New York State Office of General Service contractor. They're going to be doing it from start to finish with the help of PSE&G to get the approvals and to drop the transformer for the actual infrastructure. So what's going to be placed is going to be 10 dual port level 2 chargers. Right now there are 3 level 2 chargers at town with 2 ports each, so 6 stations. Only one of those stations are currently available. They're a few years old, and they've I guess gone past their time. So
They're going to be replaced.
They're going to be replaced, correct. So in total, we will have the 20 working chargers, which with this program, there's going to be a 5-year service agreement with additional 5 years on top of that for 80% functionality for a full 10 years. So we shouldn't have any issues moving forward for level 2 chargers for the town fleet and for the public use, and should be available 24 hours, 365 days a year. Go to the next slide. So the 3 of the ports are going to be on the north side of the parking lot by the police substation. And then the other 7 are going to be on the west side as you're leaving Town Hall on your right. Bring up the next slide. It gives you an overview of the areas that are going to be installed. So you see up on the north side there's going to be the 3 ports, 6 stations, and then there's going to be another 7 ports, 14 stations on the west side. The 8 of them are going to be designated for town fleet vehicles, and then the other 12 will be available, like I said, 24/7, 365 days a year, and for 10 years. So that's basically the overview for the program. We're waiting for PSE&G approvals, which we actually met on the site this morning. I met with Matt from our engineer from LKMA, and one of the representatives from PSE&G said that all the approvals are good to go. Was waiting on a timing for Linkwell to actually start the run from the front of Town Hall back to the transformers, which is going to be the north side of the property. And once that's done, PSE&G will drop in a transformer. Linkwell will then set it up, and they'll then make through, check the electrical, see everything's working, and should be up and running, hopefully within 2 months. And right now, any questions, comments on the progress, please?
Just, Mark, in terms of the trenching, when you say start to finish, they're going to do the paving?
Yes.
Pave back over where and these are small trenches for these lines, correct? And you have Matt, our town engineer, working on it, so they're aware of all the other underground utilities that are around.
Yes.
So from a practical standpoint, I think I don't know if we're going to want to relocate where the Hampton Hopper parks, because that's where the Hopper parks, and it's where when Human Services have, when the programs are really busy, they've had some of their vehicles parked overnight at Town Hall, and they typically park along that western side where the chargers are going. So we're going to have to look at that. And then the other thing is if we're going to have this kind of infrastructure here, I don't know if we've looked at the lighting, if this is going to be available to residents 24/7. I don't know how well lit that back part of the parking lot is.
There's one light pole back there, that's all.
The
That's all.
units
So
are
no,
lit
it's
as
not
well, aren't they?
The units are going to be lit. I mean, obviously just enough so that you can see what, how to plug it in and able to, to put it in and take it out without any issues.
And we're going to look at a next presentation on fast chargers.
Yeah,
but
so,
I don't, well, we're still here, but I don't think the town hall is an appropriate place for the fast chargers, the level 2 chargers, which are a slower charger, but in terms of people who work in the town, besides our own town fleet of electric vehicles, which is ever growing, for the public that comes into town hall, spends a little time there, maybe comes to one of these meetings, these are appropriate for there. And the infrastructure at town hall, what they need to put in is much too large for the space available in terms of the electric infrastructure. So these are the ones that are most appropriate for our town hall.
Okay. Again, moving forward to the next presentation, these are
Want to
recommendations.
just do next steps on this one?
Oh, sure. I thought I went over that, but I'll go over it again.
Okay.
Let's just coordinate with buildings and grounds and the food pantry.
Yeah, I met with Steve on site this morning.
Absolutely perfect. As you start closing and start trenching, so we know what's going to have to be marked off. And
Yeah, the only thing that I approached with them and then PSNG asked about is just there's going to be a temporary access point from the exit from the food pantry through to where the transformer is going to be, where right now the beach rakes are. So that area is going to be just some sort of like a gravel or something, so that the PSNG can bring their truck in to drop the transformer.
I appreciate the coordination.
What's the construction time? Like what?
From start to finish, they said about 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
So not too long. Okay, any more questions?
Not on that one.
Okay, if not, we're going to move forward with the recommendations for these fast chargers. So the town has been recognized as one of the leading communities for the state for clean energy and commitment to sustainable energy portfolios. The town has been recognized as a climate smart community, a clean energy community from the state. We did put together a commitment in 2014 to become 100% renewable for our energy by 2020, but we then updated it to 2030, and hopefully we're on course to get that done. We did have a renewable energy roadmap plan, which has recommended installation of EV chargers throughout the town, so that there is actually opportunity for people to use electrical vehicles, straight from each side of the town without having to worry about charging. If you want to bring to the next slide, that's just a cap of the roadmap recommendations showing that more public EV charging is a recommendation and something that we're going to try and move forward with. Obviously, we're going to do the level 2s, and this is as of right now, if we move to the next slide, there has been an incentive from PSE&G and Linkwell, which I mentioned earlier is a contractor for the New York State Office of General Services. They are incentivizing public governments and local governments to install these fast chargers. There's a few minimal requirements. Obviously, it has to be owned. The property's got to be owned by the town. They have to have 3-phase 480 volt electricity available, and then have reasonable walking distance to a retail business to actually have something to do while you're charging your vehicle with these DC fast chargers. 15 to 20 minutes to 80% of a charge. If we move forward, next slide.
So it's a win-win for renewable energy and businesses.
Yes, and so I put together a couple of or 4 or 5 locations that would meet these qualifications. Kay just mentioned that she doesn't think that the town hall is something that is something that we should do. Just have the level 2s, so that can be scratched off right now. The other 4 locations are also meet the qualifications, and so these proposals are going to have 2 dual port chargers. They're going to be 4 ports each. 2 ports each, but 2 ports each, 2 chargers, 4 ports total in each of those locations. So move to the next slide. I wanted to put a map together. This is a few of the areas that meet the qualifications just on the map to see that it covers a lot of the town. We do have now fast chargers out in Montauk. Between Montauk and Amagansett, there's lacking of town-owned parcels and not a lot of retail businesses that are walkable, so it's not really something that we can propose. So move over to the next slide. So for each of these proposed locations, Linkwell has put together a cost sheet. So the total project values for all of these are between $500,000 and $600,000. PSE&G potentially has $370,000 for each of these locations available, and then Linkwell is going to then put up additional funds, so it brings it down to a reasonable cost for the town to actually pay. So a $537,000 infrastructure is going to be costing the town $15,000, which, I mean, from my point, it's a win-win situation right there. We get the infrastructure basically for free, and we do have some numbers showing that depending on how we're going to charge the public for these, it's probably a 2-year cost, 2-year rebate or
Payback.
Yeah, payback within 2 years for the costs of the $15,000. 15 to, I think the highest was 20 and change.
So Mark, I just want to clarify, we're only looking at the East Hampton Airport right now.
Yeah.
The numbers that you're talking about, it's a $500,000 incentive for each location.
Yes. I mean, give or take for each location. We want to move forward. Again, we've put them through. I mean, this one is obviously more because the cost was more, so they're actually giving us some more to make it down to something that we can afford. And next, so that's the CDCH building.
So that's where the new ball fields are?
Yep. This is Town Hall, but that's been next. So
Can we just go back to, it's page 6, where we do talking about, it's the recreational facility behind CDCH.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, in order to, you put it all the way in the back, I mean, that's where it's cited. Is there an opportunity to put it closer to Stephen Hand's Path so folks don't have to drive all the way up that pole to be able to charge and make it closer to the street?
Yes, I think the locations can vary.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just looking at areas that there are 4 parking spaces now that would be able to accommodate so that, we can actually bring the power to those areas. But again,
See, that's probably an easier run off the transformer in that location, but I would suggest that also.
Yeah.
I'm willing to work with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, the locations are general, so they can be moved within reason, I believe.
Sure.
Looking forward to a couple of the other areas and the costs. So this is gonna be the last one through Mile Harbor, and then Amagansett parking lot. So right now, Amagansett parking lot has 4 level 2 chargers that I think 3 out of the 4 are functioning, but I think that this is a good location to actually have these fast chargers because there's a lot of retail businesses, and I think would be a good fit there.
These get heavily used.
Yeah. So I mean, we can also, like in the airport parking, in this parking area, we can actually have some signs saying, 15, 20-minute parking, so it's not going to be overused, and it can be used for either EV charging or not EV charging if we get some sort of pushback from the public that there's not enough parking in that area. So if we could just limit to a 15-minute parking, then that's something that's going to
And the airport has that. So the airport has a small lot that's 30-minute parking.
Yeah. And that's perfect.
And because where it's cited on the map in here, it's in the paid parking lot. So you don't even have to go in the paid parking lot. You could do it.
Yes, and I talked to
30-minute.
I talked to Jim regarding that. I think that would be, I wasn't sure exactly where that area was. So again, that would be the perfect area for it. 30-minute limited parking, and you can get your car charged at the same time. And it's not going to limit just for EV parking.
Yeah.
So next steps is for the town board to decide on some locations. Then we'll talk to Linkwell, and they would go move forward with applying for the incentives, and then we can identify the funding through one of the town budget lines. I saw one of our budget lines, sustainability, has enough to afford these actual locations. I believe that it was mentioned that the airport should be paying for their situation if they have the money available, and then that's something that we can bring up with them.
Yeah, NAGI just put out, we just did our,
Mm-hmm.
we did our capital bonding, and she just put out an email, I think it was this morning. So I think there is, what was it, $100,000 we had in the sustainability line?
Last I checked, it was like 85 and change.
Is it 85?
So on the locations, I think all these locations are the best locations we can.
Okay.
We're starting to get to a point where we're building that mesh network of chargers within the township. You add on to what's already been within our network, being Town Hall campus. I agree with Kate that not for this particular incentive. You also then have downtown Montauk, which I believe are being changed out also. I think we're also adding them out by the docks in one of these locations. Then too, that we're building up the network for EV chargers with some of these additional locations on there. And as we have this set, then maybe we could fill in gaps here and there, almost like cell phone technology in a way. So I support the locations. I think all of them will be very open, meaning not to vandalism and such, and I think they'll be appropriate. So I'm supportive of looking at this and moving us forward. And Kate, you just let me know how,
Thank you, David.
Well, thank you for comments. So any other questions, comments?
No.
Yeah, I'm supportive as well. I don't know, were there other locations that you identified as possible that made the qualifications?
Not that I could find. I mean, we can look a little bit deeper, but
No, that's okay. I'm actually open to the town hall. I do feel like people pop into the clerk, and those spaces where it was proposed are usually empty, and also can be court spaces. But I know Kate's done a lot more research on this, but I'm open-minded about that, and I support the concept for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's wherever we can find the money is available. It's something that I think that should be looked into.
Yeah, but there's a tremendous amount of EVs in town, people ownerships, that's only going to grow. Right now, as an EV owner, if I wanted, I plug in at night at my house like a big toaster. I don't even have a special level 1, I just plug it in. But if I'm going to travel a distance, I'm either right now either have to go to Bridgehampton to where their shops are and walk around and get coffee there, which is not preferred, or I have to travel out to Montauk and then hike back into the west side of town. So I think in terms of our roadmap goals, our renewable energy goals, creating that network, filling in that network is a priority. And therefore I support the cost, the town cost, plus who could turn down these incentives?
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Such a great incentive.
tremendous incentives. It would be a shame to pass them by.
Agreed.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it to us, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. It just jumped right on it.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you for helping out today, Megan.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so those are our topics for today, and we are up to liaison reports. David?
Sure. Madam Supervisor, thank you very much to all the residents of the town of East Hampton. I want to let everyone know that the Stephen Hans Path Long Lane Roundabout update is that it's functionally working as a rotary roundabout as of today. Please be aware of new traffic patterns in this location and that there's ongoing construction in the center, so please give a break to any of the construction workers. They will be working on the Belgian blocking in the middle and the curbing in the middle as all the curbing on the outside is substantially complete. This should take us up to Memorial Day, and the contractor has sped up their time frame to hopefully be out. No one wants to really be working past Memorial Day here. They'll be out of here. I was down there at 6:30 this morning. They are already striping it. I've already gotten one comment from an individual that traveled through there today, said that it went smoother than that person had thought.
Was that the clerk?
I don't know.
Because I spoke to the clerk on the way into the office this morning, and she thought you want to say what your experience was?
Went very smoothly, and it
So-
was marked out.
So we hope that continues, but as the construction happens, please continue to give everyone a break. And again, this is a public safety initiative. Any questions or concerns, please contact my office. Going back into highway, highway is finishing up their some of their paving projects. That area will also be extended and paved up to Cedar Street. Also then too, so they're moving through, they're finalizing their paving. They're going to be doing on selective locations, nighttime striping. I think they just complete, some of the villages completed their streets last night or the night before, but be prepared that there'll be nighttime striping of fog lines and yellow lines upcoming.
Can I ask, so I know the company that we use is from Connecticut because that's who's on contract. Are there going to be other roads that'll be the fog lines? Because I know that my East Hampton CAC is always talking about fog lines and needing to be filled in, and I think we had gotten some word about North Main Street going up to Springs Fireplace Road. They had faded. I don't know if those were on Steve Lynch's radar.
Neither do I.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't. We could check on there. I don't know.
We could get from him where they're going to be putting in, going back and doing.
They're
that
typically
kind of
the
striping.
same ones, but I can't answer that question. I don't want to give anyone the wrong information, but I just let everyone know that it's going to be happening. And then again, if that's something that we want to look budgetary to do more and more fog lines or reflectiveness, we can talk about that again, but I'll try to find out, let you know, Madam Supervisor. Let me just get to, I'm so sorry about this, and I have an aquaculture update from John Barley Dunn. I want to thank John for this. So far, the season's been actually, let's go touch wood, good so far. There have been 3 batches of oysters at the nursery, close to 8 million oysters. Clam production is also doing very well. They're doing their an oyster spawn Thursday for 3 Mile Harbor Reef, which will be installed in the boat yard lane in Springs, and end of June. Oyster gardening is well underway. Fingers crossed for Bay Scout production. Spawns will start later this month. That's actually a very interesting thing to go witness at our aging aquaculture facility. But again, the staff aquaculture is doing quite well then too. Other updates on here then too. Second house update. Second house, they're looking for the final closeouts, hopefully today. James Pincott is working on that. Buildings and grounds will be there at the end of this week, finalizing with some topsoil to try to regrade the area and seed in time. The town of East Hampton is removing all of their stored equipment. Hopefully that'll be all gone by this week. And they are, the orchard installation was recently completed by the Montauk Historical Society. We'll continue to work with them as they move forward on that. I have a couple resolutions on for this week also. One of them is on today is for, it's to apply for a plaque for a National Register Historical plaque for the Montauk Playhouse Auditorium on there. And the other one is for a grant intake for an AEDs also. I want to thank Sam Klein also for working on these with me. Please don't forget that at the American Legion in Amagansett, the Vietnam Traveling Wall is coming next weekend. I believe it's the 23rd to the 26th. I truly look forward to seeing that there. Please visit it. Really, please visit it and think why it's there and why we're all here. Lastly, Madam Supervisor had a meeting and we talked about, the question was things that you value, right? That was one of the questions. And one of the things, why do you, things that you value in your job? And one of the things, my answer was, I value when my kids become engaged and ask me questions. It could be questions on the beach. It could be questions on the airport, questions on everything from hunting all the way through. What this Saturday today was something that I extremely valued. Based on the weather last week, the East Hampton High School District, Kathy Masterson, who's the athletic director, worked with John Rooney, and they found another location for a doubleheader for East Hampton High School Bonnick softball versus Harbor Fields, and it was at the Fred Thiel Recreation Facility at the new softball fields there. They worked with Little League to make sure all the timing worked up there. There were dozens of kids up there watching East Hampton High School softball, which my daughter plays on, then too, and started, were able to play on those fields. They swept a doubleheader, and they put themselves for the first time in 5 years into the Section 11 playoffs for the county there. That was something that was very valuable to me. Thank you for that. And that's my liaison report.
Thank you, David. And you want to give an update on the multipurpose field?
Nope. I'll do that Tuesday. I'm gonna sit on that one and go from there.
You got it. All right, Kate, you're up.
David, you should really feel that.
No, we all should go on
Yeah,
it right now.
it's awesome. So I have two quick updates. One is the $600,000 New York State Coastal Resiliency Grant Steering Committee continues to meet. We have our RFP out for consultants on this project, and we're developing some side projects that are part of the things we have to tick off, like creating a survey for the community, and Sam Klein is very good at surveys. So she brings things to the committee, and we're supposed to review these drafts, and we all just sit there and ooh and ah how great they are. And also we're looking at the advisory committee membership, and again, the folks that are on this committee is Jen Iacono, Leo Daunt, Andy Harris, and Sam Klein and myself, and it's a really constructive working group of folks. Andy's there because this is obviously a water LWRP grant, and he sits on that committee, and Leo's from the chamber, and Jen from the Playhouse, and of course Sam's, I can't speak enough about how valuable she is. So that work is progressing. While we were here, I'm going to read it off my phone. I got an update, if I can. Okay, from Orsted on the repaving of Beach Lane, and this came in after we were already here. So the crew was able to complete the road repairs yesterday, and they have started the final paving today. They believe that the paving will be completed today, David, but we'll be doing a final walkthrough with Highway Department and myself, and you're certainly invited to make sure everything is done properly on that project. So that went very quick. We were lucky even with the rain. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Ian?
Yes, the Springs Farmers Market will open this Saturday, the 17th, from 9 to 1 p.m. at Ashwag Hall on the lawn there. Encourage everybody to check it out, and if you're parking, just be mindful that parking is tight there and park safely. I also just want to suggest that when there was a festival last fall in the blacksmith shop in that same area, I was successful to parking in School Street and then walking across the bridge at Pussy's Pond, which is quite a nice walk, and just want people to consider that as a possibility. The blacksmith shop will also be open on Saturday the 17th. I think a lot of people have probably not been to the Parsons Blacksmith Shop, but it's open monthly on Saturdays to coincide with the farmers market. James DeMartis, who's a fantastic artist and blacksmith, will be there demonstrating. The forge will be going, and I highly encourage, really encourage people to check it out. It's a very cool building, and blacksmith seems a very interesting art. Also, just want to note that, and thank the Springs Historical Society. They are actually celebrating their 50th year this year.
Congratulations.
And there's a really dedicated group of people who help take care of the blacksmith shop, the Heart of Springs group. There's just a lot of good work that goes on there, and I want to acknowledge that. And in fact, they're going to be in the blacksmith shop this Thursday, cleaning up and preparing for Saturday. And over my just over a year being on this board, I've sort of seen some really positive transformations in there, and it's a gem, and I encourage everybody to check it out. The Property Management Committee will meet next Wednesday at 4:30 at Town Hall. The tentative agenda is to talk about Brooks Park, which has been a CPF property the town's owned for a while, and we'll discuss the future there. Lastly, I want to mention that the first-time home buyer program, we discussed this recently as a town board and adopted the new program with some changes. And just want to encourage anybody out there who might be looking for their first home to reach out to Joanne Pilgrim in the Housing Department. There's information on the website, currently in English, and it's also being translated into Spanish. One other thing I want to mention about the first-time home buyer, this has come up through outreach by members of the community, is how we might use that program to allow people interested in constructing their own home or purchasing a modular home. And I'm very open-minded about that. I think that I've spoken with the town attorney, John Jilnicki, who thinks there's a legal path forward. I just want to mention to other board members, the only concern would be making sure that a house gets constructed in a timely fashion, so that if we're giving assistance, that we make sure it ends up as a habitable space. So I'll follow up with more about that, but again, that program I think has been very successful, and I encourage everybody who might be interested to reach out to the Housing Department.
Great. Can I just bring up the culvert over by Old Stone Highway. I mean, I've driven through there. It looks like they paved within the last couple of days. And when you're saying park on School Street for the farmer's market, it got wider.
Yep.
So it's safer to cross and you do, and there's a nicer view because those phragmites were removed.
Yeah.
So is there much more work that needs to get done there?
Yeah, the timing of that based on weather, I think they still need to paint the bridge and seal some cracks, but that's not going to be super noticeable. It's just small repairs and then a final coat of white paint, so it'll look nicer. So that work is winding down. I would like to continue to explore the trimming, cutting that phragmite to open up more of that vista. I think the work that was done was really successful. And also like a longer term plan to explore street parking there and sort of integrate. There's a lot of great events that happen in Springs, and as anybody who's been down there, traffic can be a little bit dicey. We don't want to put a big parking lot in, but I think we can be creative with places to find additional parking that isn't so noticeable, but also accommodates bigger events. So it's a longer term view, but hope we get there.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I just wanted to let folks know there's two resolutions that I have on for Thursday. One, we're going to be accepting the offer of a donation of a boulder and memorial plaque in honor of Ronald S. Lauder family for having, sold to the town the 66 Wayne Scott Main Street. Folks remember that that property Mr. Lauder had purchased in 2021 at a cost of $66 million, and 3 years later sold it to us for open space, water quality, and historic preservation at a cost of $56 million. So Mr. Lauder's friend, Andrew Sabin, is making that donation. So we're going to have a resolution on to accept the boulder and memorial plaque. And then also, Jeannie mentioned it, we had talked about doing a community newsletter that would get mailed ideally on a quarterly basis. So we're going out for bids for printing and inkjetting the addresses for a new 4-page newsletter, and Jeannie's also going to be going out for quotes to hire a graphic designer. And then lastly, the Citizen Police Academy graduation is this Wednesday night, and I've been asked by Sergeant Alversa to get a head count. So I don't know if folks could let me know today if you'll be attending the graduation tomorrow. I believe it's at 5:30.
I'll be at a softball game.
At headquarters.
So sorry.
Okay, no worries. So that's what I have for today. And then we have a few resolutions.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be able to offer Resolution 2025-716. This is authorize a payment for our 2024 Nelson and Pope invoice, which was dated September 16th, 2025, for work that was completed in 2024. And the amount of the invoice was for $2,176.25.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have Resolution 2025-717. This is a bond for $1.5 million for the Lake Montauk Navigation Project. You might recall that we did this resolution last week, but we're rescinding that bond because we needed to do it not in the amount of 1.1 million, but we actually needed to do it at 1.5 million, which is still just an estimate. So do I have a second? Second. Carol, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Flight, Councilmember Lease,
Aye.
Councilmember Rogers.
Aye.
Councilmember Calder Piedmont,
Aye.
Supervisor Burke Gonzalez.
Aye. Resolution 718 is to approve employee reimbursement for the Citizens Police Academy graduation. This is for refreshments and flowers, and it's in the amount not to exceed $600. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
719 is to approve Police Department crime prevention training. This is for Police Officer Jack Borey, that he be retroactively reimbursed for training he attended in an amount not to exceed $1,000. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
720 is for remote monitoring and maintenance agreement for 2025 for the East Hampton Town Police Department. This is maintenance of their computer servers at an annual cost of $41,236. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
721 is reversal of fees paid via credit, debit card, and e-check. This is at times payments that are processed electronically are later deemed to have been processed in error or duplication. So this puts a process in place for refunds via the same payment method, and Department Departments must notify Finance Department in writing before refund fee is processed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I have Resolution 2025-722. This is to authorize an application to National Register Sign Grant Program. This is a plaque for the Montauk Playhouse Auditorium. And this goes, an application to the William G. Pomeroy Foundation for this sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
723 is to amend hourly rates for part-time traffic control officers, retroactive to April 6, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That concludes our agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for CPF, personnel, litigation, contracts, and real estate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and thank you, LTV.
Thank you, guys.